Hello and welcome everyone to the Wednesday, May 22nd edition of the SIG ContribEx Biweekly meeting. A reminder that we do operate under a code of conduct, which essentially says to be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. At the beginning of our meeting here, we do like to do a round of introductions, totally optional. So we won't call on people so that it is totally optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I'll kick things off. I'm Caslin Fields. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a co-chair of the Special Interest Group for Contributor Experience, which is the group that is the focus of this meeting. So we are a special interest group of Kubernetes where we focus on the experience that contributors have contributing to the project, which involves all sorts of aspects, including how the processes work on GitHub, contributor events like the Contributor Summit, mentoring activities that the project does, and all sorts of other things, which we will go over as a list of subprojects today. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves?
Sure. I'm Josh Burkus. I've been around ContribEx as long as it's been ContribEx. I work for Red Hat and do several things, including the election sub-project, which you'll soon be hearing about because I need to recruit people for it. And I don't know, next up, Madhav.
Sure. Hi, my name is Madhav. I'm one of the technical leads for SIG ContribEx, along with Priyanka, who's not currently on the call. But I handle a little bit of GitHub administration, some things in SIG architecture and API machinery as well. So if you want to talk about any of those things or you need help with getting started, feel free to reach out. Chris, do you want to go next?
Certainly. I'm Chris Short. I am employed by AWS, the open source team there. I am also a co-lead of Contributor Comms, which is the sub-project of this group. And pronouns are he, him. Feel free to go next, anyone who wants to.
I'll at least do it since I'm listed as Kubernetes steering. I'm Bob Killen, Mr. Bobby Tables across all the things. I juggle a half dozen Zoom accounts, so I'm never actually myself. And that's the whole Kubernetes steering thing. I was a former chair of ContribEx.
Welcome to the call, Kubernetes Steering. Anyone else?
Hi everyone, my name is Arvind. I'm a student and developer from India. I've been part of the ContribEx team for some time now. I'm still exploring and happy to help wherever help is needed. So thank you. Plus my pronouns are he/him. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Sorry, Arvind. So my name's Sylvester Carolan. I'm a newbie. I think this is my third meeting I've had with ContribEx. So yeah, I do. I've joined other groups too. So part of the Kubernetes Minikube piece there. So yeah, looking to learn as much as I can. Yeah, contribute.
Contribute. The motto of this group. Thank you and welcome everyone. I think that's everyone. I'll leave that open for just a second in case anyone else has missed doing an intro. Alrighty. One other housekeeping item before we dive into the agenda. Would anyone be willing to volunteer as note taker today?
I can do it for the first half. I might need to drop off in the second one, so someone else can maybe take over.
Sounds good to me. Realistically, it's always a group effort, so but it's always good to have someone on it. So thank you, Madhav. Awesome. So we will go on ahead and dive into the agenda. I did put the link to the doc in our chat. Let me throw that in again in case anyone missed it. Do go ahead and add yourself as an attendee if you haven't already, or if you need help, let us know and we'll take care of that. All right. So the first item on our agenda is usually events, but I know that our contributor summit lead is going to be late to our meeting today. So he has asked that we do that at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and skip over events and we'll come back to it at the end of the meeting. If folks need to drop before then and want to talk about it before then, please let me know. But we'll go on ahead to mentoring for now. I know that there are several proposals for projects in for LFX, I think it was, that I had reviewed some of. I think Nabarun reviewed one of them. Any other updates on mentoring that folks know about? Sounds like no. Another thing on this actually is that, as I've mentioned the last couple of meetings, we are still working on the annual report, which is on my list to review our PR for that later today. And one of the things we'll be calling out in the annual report is that we would really love to have more help in the mentoring subproject of this group. And particularly, we would like to find someone with kind of project management type skill set. Because what is most needed there is someone to kind of keep track of which mentoring projects, like the LFX mentorship and like Google Summer of Code and all of those types of programs, that's the word. Which mentoring programs are open, letting the community know that they're open and encouraging them to apply, keeping track of which, what projects we actually submit to those programs, as well as keeping track of internal mentoring efforts and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very project management-y kind of help that we need with that. So tell your friends. I have someone I should talk to about that.
Yeah, me too. But let me know how your person goes, because my person's currently unemployed.
Talk to all the people.
Fair enough.
We're more likely to catch someone if we talk to more people. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question? So you can't, I can't contribute until I become get 2 PRs or something done, get sponsorship. Is that how it works?
So that is for org membership. You're welcome to be a contributor at any level. So we have this concept of the contributor ladder. At the bottom of the ladder is folks who just come in and contribute. Like
Right.
you find a good first issue or something,
Yep.
you submit a PR,
Right,
you
got
do
that.
some stuff. So there's plenty of folks who just stay at that level. But the next level is org membership. So we have a Kubernetes org on GitHub, and that's what you have to apply for with a couple of PRs and a couple of folks from the project to vouch for you.
Right.
And
Got
the
it.
goal of that is to say, yes, this person is an active contributor who's going to be here for a while. So they may need the additional privileges that come with being an org member.
Right. Okay. Now I'm wondering, should I volunteer for some of these things, or do I have to wait until I, become? Because I could do the project management bit as well. If you need help, or if I need to, become a org member, I can wait. That's no problem.
In general, I definitely recommend just hopping in.
Yes.
All right. I'm happy to help however I can. I've got a lot of experience with that.
And this could easily go towards your org membership. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Josh Burkus has been kind of leading this in the interim as best he can. So Josh could probably give you some pointers if you want to dive into the mentoring side of things.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, the thing is that we have several mentoring programs, so you don't even need to take on the whole thing. You could just work with one program to get started.
Okay.
And that will be better than what we have now.
So what do I do to start then? How do I get started on this? Do I reach out to you, John? Or
Yeah. Are you in
Josh?
Slack?
I am, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Let's start chatting on Slack.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool.
Whee!
Love it. And as you start to learn, we'll we'd love to hear from you what you're figuring out, where you see need for help, all of that kind of stuff. And we'd love to support you. We care a
Sounds
lot
good.
about this project, but it's been kind of on the back burner. So thank you very much for stepping up to try that out. We appreciate it. Any other questions or comments about mentoring? All right. We'll move on to the next item in our agenda then, which is contributor comms. I put in the first couple of items here, but Chris, you've actually been more engaged.
I don't know if
So-
more engaged is the right word, but yes, maybe.
Would you like to start?
Sorry,
How deep-
sorry, just making sure that there are no updates on external mentoring programs.
Oh yeah, that's in there. Sorry. Anybody else for external mentoring?
Well, LFX mentorship is kind of an external mentoring program. I would
Right.
consider internal mentoring programs to be like mentoring cohorts that the SIGs lead. We are technically a part of the LFX, so Linux Foundation. So it kind of makes sense for
Yeah.
that to be internal, but I think that's external.
Yeah, but there's work. Yeah, I mean, we consider it external because it has a schedule that is not determined by us.
Exactly.
There you go.
Good way to describe it. Thank you. So I think we're good there. Thank you, Madhav, for bringing that up. So Chris, would you like to talk
How
about the
deep
AI
do we
blogs
want to
thing?
get?
Or would you like me to give maybe if I give an overview, that'll help us out.
Yes, let's go down that path.
Let's go that path. So the SIG docs folks came to us with a conversation about AI in blog posts. As we have discussed in previous meetings, we're seeing a big uptick in all sorts of PRs, likely driven by AI, because people can ask the AI, please give me an answer to this problem, and then they just submit a PR with that. So it's really increased the volume of PRs that we've seen, and that can apply to other types of content as well, such as blogs. I don't think that we've seen a particularly marked increase in blog submissions. At least we weren't talking about that here. What we were talking about is that there was a blog submitted recently that, when run through an AI checker, came up as 100% written by AI. It's not clear if that was accurate as to what happened. However, we need processes in place to be able to at least try to judge when these things are happening and do something about it, because we want to make sure that the content that we are publishing as a project is primarily written by humans. We are okay with AI assistance, absolutely, but it does need to be heavily edited by a human. So this submission coming up as 100% AI written is an issue. So we've had a big discussion about what to do about it. We have now reached out to the person who submitted the blog post and said, hey, it's coming up as this. And we will not accept this as it is. We will not.
Yeah.
Well, it was already published, so we will take it down in this case as it is. And the person has mentioned interest in writing a new blog post on the topic to try to get by this. But this is an interesting issue that we're going to have to think about as a project and in our processes. So we've had a lot of discussion about making sure that we're checking for AI written content before we publish it, and how we address issues that come up. Totally not blaming the person who submitted this or any other, but it needs to be in our processes that we're checking for these kinds of things. So that's my summary of the situation.
Okay, where do you just, because I mean, I know a number of people for whom English is not their first language,
Yeah.
who use AI as a like grammar, etc. helper tool.
And yeah,
Right.
the tool in
And
question
we're
was
A-okay
very
with that.
much in that vein. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was the flagging of it being entirely AI generated.
That is the issue, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Now, I did test the tool that was used, which was copyleak.com. So it checks for plagiarism and AI. And it kind of has a binary kind of functionality I found in my tests. Like if it finds any AI, it just marks it as all AI, which I thought was interesting. So it's not a perfect tool, but it's better than nothing. So
Yeah, I don't. Unless we are plagiarizing. I don't know. It sounds like a long discussion.
Exactly.
was, yes.
The I think the problem is, like, I think we need an actual policy first before we
Yes.
can explain it to people.
Mario and others, myself included, are working on policy, but we saw a need to not have other people discover this as Gen AI and start submitting blogs accordingly. This was also published on both blogs, so not great.
So we're working with the folks on this across SIG docs, comms, and the folks writing blogs in this case, and writing policy and trying to work with this particular issue. Welcome, Mario. Any other questions or comments about this AI blog policy update conversation?
Is the conversation around policy happening somewhere in public right now?
It's currently in a DM among
Yeah, we need to take that to a higher
No, yeah,
level
no,
thing.
that makes sense. I was just curious. Yeah, because the reason I asked was if the tool being considered as copy leak, and it is a binary sort of tool, then I would be slightly skeptical about that being the source of truth. Because as Josh said, English as a first language is, something that we should definitely be considerate of.
Yeah, and I don't.
But I'll wait.
Yeah,
You can see
There's
what
no
it
great,
is.
I mean, it's been well established. There's no great tools for detecting AI generated content. Even the tools
Yeah,
that
for sure. Yep.
OpenAI put out at first were terrible. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think all of us folks, which there's a pool of, who review and edit blog posts, are going to need to be part of that discussion. Because I mean, I'll tell you, as somebody who reviews the blog posts for the contributor site, I encountered stuff that I thought was prompt generated text, but I did not think there was a problem with that. As long as it didn't end up being a direct copy of text that was elsewhere. And as long as the content was worthwhile, right? As long as the end result was something that was a worthwhile blog post.
Yeah, I guess, Bob, we need a bot of you.
I need to clone myself many times, but
yes, like several times over, please.
After reviewing countless CFPs where it's just like, this is obviously AI generated.
Can we take your brain and turn it into an LLM at the very least?
Chief is trying.
Of course he is.
Well,
I think Josh, to your point that you mentioned in chat, if a human cannot tell the difference, then it's a problem. I think the tell here was the initial tone and like the fact that you said complete rewrite necessary, basically, at first. I think should have been the reddest of red flags.
Oh, that one.
That one. Yeah.
I didn't think that was AI generated. I just thought that somebody got carried away, honestly.
Well, and I did too.
I'm sorry, I mistook bad AI writing for bad human writing.
We all did, right? Like, I approved the damn thing once it finally got edited and everything. So yeah, like it's one of those things. Like if we go back and look at the original, you can kind of be like, yeah.
I don't know. I think we should hash this out because I don't.
We have to. Yeah.
As long as it's not resulting in like actionable plagiarism, like as in copying entire chunks of text. And I don't have problems with authors using AI as tool as long as the result is good.
So yeah, the kind of litmus test we need to have is something written in policy, right? Like I've talked to AWS legal about this. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and just in general, right? Like as long as it's accurate and not obvious, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah, having
Yeah,
large
I
chunks
mean,
copied out is less than ideal.
yeah, that particular post did show the danger with using those kinds of tools, though, because that explains why the person who submitted it didn't really think about some of the text that was contained in it.
Bingo.
And that's the problem rather than how they generated that text.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it does mean that we would have to run stuff through a copy checker, though, because everybody's demonstrated that it's possible for AIs to accidentally generate verbatim copies of text, and we don't
Oh
want
yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
want old-fashioned plagiarism, however we arrived at it. So
Exactly. And
I
we
also
talked about tools like Grammarly and things like that,
Mhm.
and that's definitely more like a grammar checker and not a complete writing tool, right? It has some AI functionalities, but to my knowledge, like straight up whole like blog post content generation is not a thing.
I was going to pop in here and offer Madhav a chance since he has to drop if there are any GitHub management updates. He said in the chat that there weren't, but last chance. Any GitHub management updates before you drop?
No, none this time. Maybe
Cool.
next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got to drop too. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for being on, Chris. The other item for comms is the 10-year anniversary blog post. So we are trying to work up a 10-year anniversary blog post. I know, Bob, you were working on gathering some stuff for that this morning, which I haven't seen where that landed, but I've got to figure that out.
Mostly, I went through all the albums on the Flickr site and basically grabbed at least a few photos from every summit I could find.
Wonderful.
And
We've
then
got-
there's also things in the chairs and tech leads with some like just potentially fun little anecdotes from like Ben and others.
Awesome. I know I haven't started actually drafting a blog post yet, but I'm not the only one working on this, so I need to check on the
Yeah.
status myself.
yeah, a couple of, I mean, if there's any summits that you don't have good photos for, let me know and I'll go through my own photos.
If you click that link, you'll like I didn't have a lot. I only had like one good one from NA 2017.
Yeah,
And
and I'll see whether or not I had any for that, because
okay. And then
that was before I think that was before I had a phone that took good pictures.
yeah,
So
the oldest ones that are on Flickr are EU 2017.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't have any from 2016.
yeah.
I know that.
So I call that good enough.
I think actually Sarah specifically didn't want us taking pictures in 2016. So
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, the other thing that we can do is we can assemble sort of all of the graphics from all of the contributor summits that had graphics.
which we do have already.
Yes, which we collected already for stuff. So
Does a doc exist that we should be working out of?
I think not yet. So
Okay.
maybe we can create a hackmd and share it.
Okay. Honestly, for this, oh, HackMD is fine.
We can also do Google Docs, but I think the Federico uses usually hackmd.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to the 10-year anniversary blog post. June 6th is right around the corner.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
It's actually like, definitely should try and get a tweet out about, all the Kubernetes things and stuff like that. Like,
Should probably schedule several tweets.
yes.
Or posts across all of our platforms.
Yeah.
Schedule.
Yeah, I think there are various CNCF meetups that also pick it up as a party. I, for example, know that in Munich is happening at least one. I know that in Istanbul is happening one.
Yeah.
So
There's like
is-
40 of them.
There's, over 50, I think I counted this morning.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I might have miscounted, but
Honestly, I trust you because I think I counted last week.
cool. Looking forward to that.
Although amusingly, there's none on the West Coast aside from the one in
big
the
one?
Bay Area, because everybody who would organize one in the West Coast is going to the interview. Yeah.
Yep.
The only problem is I think is like a lot of people still haven't registered for that yet.
Oh.
If you know people that are going and haven't registered yet, tell them to register because
Oh, I should check whether or not I'm supposed to register as a speaker.
I think you have a different invite code.
Nobody sent me anything, so
Okay.
My
If
travel
not,
was
just
approved
register
for
and go
me.
from there.
Yep.
As far as I know, there's a separate invite code for a like anniversary pre-event thing. But the rest it's all just the regular one.
Exciting 10-year anniversary.
yeah, who knew it would last this long?
I spoke to
Yeah.
Kelsey Hightower recently, and he said in the early days, he said this was going to be a 20-year project.
I can still remember the Kubernetes versus Mesos versus Swarm debates.
I love telling people about that. It's fantastic.
I ran Mesos. I was a contributor to Mesos.
I was
Yep.
pro Docker Swarm, honestly. Love that usability.
I was interested in Mesos up until I tried to stand up Zookeeper, at which point my interest waned rapidly. And then, of course, later on, I got paid by somebody to stand up Zookeeper. So there we go.
The monkey's paw curled.
Yep. I think it's gonna be more than 20 years at this point. I was talking to one of my coworkers about it, and I'm like, we've successfully created Linux for clusters. Like,
Yep. That's the thing.
Kubernetes is going to be more boring in the future, but it's not going to go away.
Yeah, that's what Kelsey was saying too.
Yeah.
Boring is good. So back in the agenda, there are a couple more things that I put in here for comms. We still do need to get some documents out about the Kubernetes IO processes, about like how we approve posts for that, who has what kinds of access, how one gets the right kind of access for your role, what roles those are. All of those kinds of things we want to get written down and documented somewhere. We do already have a number of social media processes in place, which are adjacent to these. So, but we'll let you know when we have new documentation out about that. We are being much more careful, of course, with the Kubernetes IO account, since it has a very, very large following and is targeted mainly toward end users and folks outside of the contributor community. And if folks have requests for things to go out on there, we'll make sure to do the party. Please do let us know either through Slack or Mario recently updated our GitHub issue template as well. I don't know if that went in. I think it,
It's not yet merged because Chris had some things that we especially change it away from marketing template.
yeah. Trying to make it a little bit clearer that that issue template is for the various types of social media that we have and other communication methods. Another item I have in the agenda for comms is, of course, we have our SIG Spotlight blog series, which is an opportunity for comms contributors to interview the leads of SIGs and then write a blog post about what they learned. That project is still going strong. It's an evergreen project because there are so many SIGs for us to do spotlights about. There's pretty much always one to do, at least with our current number of contributors. So that's still going. We have several in progress. And also our comms blogging lead, specify that, is currently running a shadowing program, training up some of our other contributors to be familiar with our blogging processes so that they can take on leadership in the future. Any questions about comms? Cool. Josh, did you say that you needed to drop early? We're already past the 30-minute point, so you good?
Yeah, no, that wasn't me. That was
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So a couple things that I know that we still need to talk about are elections and events. I'm wondering if we should go back to events now or if you want to do elections now. Josh, do you have a preference?
Do it whenever it comes up in the sequence.
Okay. I think we'll pop back then to events real quick, since you're here now, Mario. And then there's a loud noise as soon as I say that.
Yeah, I'm super sorry. It's airports are not the best place. I will be fast. So the announcement for the Contributor Summit will go out on the 6th of June together with the registration. We are still looking for a social lead. We will ask for support again by the mailing list because we haven't yet used the mailing list, and fingers crossed that this works. We reviewed the registration document provided by the CNCF and made some comments there. A lot of shadows have been confirmed, and I think currently everything looks fine, given that we still have so much time left.
Right. We still need a social lead, though, yeah?
Yeah, we still need a social lead.
We do have an awards lead now, though, right? We were going to also
Yes,
ask for help
we-
there, but we now have
yeah.
an awards lead. But yes,
We have
social.
a awards lead that did it before, so that's the good
Yeah.
thing. So Mars did it already, so we can basically rely on his, but it would be great if he gets the shadow.
Josh, you were going to say something about social lead?
Oh yeah. I'll follow up with the leads. I think we should actually advertise the social lead opportunity across the community, because that's one that can really be filled by sort of a different skill set there.
Mhm.
We're honestly just really looking for somebody who likes planning parties. Surely that person has to be out there somewhere.
Yeah. We're planning to send out an email about it this week. It's on my list and I haven't gotten it done yet, along with a couple of other contributor summit things. So there will definitely be an email. We could definitely look into some other ways to promote that in the community as well. If there are any particular Slack groups where you would like to advertise it, please feel free. And tell your friends.
But yeah, that's it for events.
Any questions about the Contributor Summit? All right. I still need to set up all of my stuff. So I think I'm the last lead that hasn't confirmed shadows on the issue, but my shadows pretty much know.
Nah, social is also behind.
Okay. At least there's that, the one that doesn't have a lead. Anyway. All right, we'll move back to the bottom of the agenda then. Feel free to ask questions at any time. The next thing on the agenda is contributor documentation. Are there any particular updates there? I know I saw some updates from Microsoft Build about new integrations in Visual Studio Code for GitHub code spaces. Someday maybe we'll have GitHub code spaces for our contributor guides. Guessing there are no particular updates there. All right. Then we'll move on to our next item, which is moderation and media. Does anyone on have any updates about that? Zoom, Slack, YouTube stuff?
No, it's not been, at least speaking for Slack, nothing particularly exciting. The usual. So far, at least the AI bots have not figured out a way to invade Slack. Oh, that'll happen eventually, but not yet.
This actually just reminded me that I still need to put in that service desk request for more Zoom accounts.
Mm-hmm.
That is now on my to-do list for today. There have been a few things going on with Zoom lately, which we've covered in previous meetings. Some new working groups that needed Zoom accounts, and we worked that out for now, and I do need to request a couple more accounts. And YouTube automation, we've been working with an engineer from Zapier who has joined the community, which has been wonderful, on fixing a couple of issues with our Zapier stuff, both for social media and for YouTube, primarily for YouTube. We had a particular problem there with playlists, but that's resolved-ish now, I think. But there's some ongoing work around YouTube automation that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Beyond that, we'll move into our next topic, which is GitHub management. And we already discussed that there were no particular updates, at least from Madhav there. I assume no one else on the call has any updates, but any updates on GitHub management? All right. The next item is elections. I know you wanted to talk about that, Josh.
Yeah, so I'm a little behind schedule now because too many events last month and I didn't get started yet, but I need to recruit to sort of restaff the election subproject so that we can approve the new election officers. Just because most of the people who volunteered to the election subproject 2 years ago are not very active with Kubernetes right now. And that's kind of my update, because by next month we need to select election officers so they can get started in the election process.
Shall we also include this basically that we do a ContribEx call for help? I mean, for the summit and also then for election officers.
Well,
not election officers, but election project staffing.
Yeah, but election
Yeah.
project. So
yeah, I mean, the problem is that who we want for the election subproject is a little bit more restrictive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like recruiting a release team lead or something. Maybe not specific technical experience, but definitely it needs to be, you know, somebody who has been an org member for at least a year, and has participated in some way, including voting in the steering elections, etc. And we need to get some sort of employer spread. So those are our challenges. So I don't want to do as broad of a call as we would do for the party person.
And the specific programming language was what again?
Oh, well, that's for actually working on the
Python?
software, Python.
Yeah.
But that is something that I could also use help with, but is separate from, like, if somebody starts working on it, they could certainly be a member of the election subproject, but those two are separate. The issue is that we have this two-level structure. We have an election subproject that actually recommends a new slate of election officers, which gets confirmed by the current steering committee. And we need to start that process. So
I'm wondering if it might be nice to recruit someone who has been on steering and is not planning to be on steering again in the future. I don't know if we have any folks like that in particular in the project right now, but after this current cycle, there might be some.
Yeah.
But
The
and also not you, Bob, probably.
yeah, I mean, we have made use of that for the election officers, right? Like Dims became an election officer after he retired from steering.
Yeah.
So yeah. And those are good candidates and actually would be worth reaching out to steering in general. Well, more for the office, because the officer's responsibility is limited to 1 year, right? For the sub project, we really would want to get people who actually were retired from steering, because
Exactly, yeah.
even if they're not running this year, they might be running next year, and then they have to be uninvolved for a year, and it's not really helpful.
Yeah. But if they were a steering member and then retired from it, then they would be particularly familiar with the election processes. So that might be good folks.
Yeah.
Was there a question? I saw a hand raised. Oh, he was leaving. Okay. Bob, did you want to say anything else on this topic?
Oh, not at this time.
Cool.
I should theoretically be available for at least the next go around.
Cool. Something for us to think about. If we think of anyone in particular, maybe we could do some targeted messaging if we can think of a list of folks who fit the profile. Cool. Any questions about elections? So that election won't be until September, but election officers will be chosen in the next month or so. And so the processes of setting up the election will begin soon. Any other questions? Alrighty then. It is about 9:50 and we've lost most of our folks on the call. Any open mic discussion items for today? All right. I think we've covered a good amount of stuff today. We'll make sure to set up a public conversation about our AI processes and discuss that more offline. Well, online on Slack. People say offline, but they really mean online through chat.
Async.
Async. That's the right word. All right. Last chance for any comments before we say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. All right, gonna stop the recording. Bye, YouTube.